Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. All right, today we'll be discussing secure management story. Before that, as usual, standard on this channel. Click below if you have any extra firearms that you have that you want to get rid of, that you no longer need, that you need extra currency, want extra currency. Follow the link below. Distribute your gun, fill out the paperwork, follow the prompts, and after that, you'll receive what you need. Now, I want to talk about another career application in the form of me doing account security. Account security in reference to when I came a little bit more along the way. And this is still more of the classification of being a security guard rather than a security officer, because there are less credentials that are in place that imply and also back up that application, plus the lack of what I would consider to say professional support, tools, items, and also training. But by this time, I've come in my own along my way, so I wasn't just filling in space. I was filling in space from being in the field, if you will, going through the security protection application and just rising up a bit. So by this time, I got my CPL, working on security sites. I'm making more money. By this time, it was only a few more extra dollars or whatever, whatnot, but coming from 750 and going from 10 to 11 at that point in time, and making extensive progress as far as tools and training that I'm investing in myself. I've come a long way. I remember I was carrying my SR9 Ruger at the time, and so and obviously when it came to providing equipment, I provided my own mags and things like that, and basic subduing tools, whether it be handcuffs or pepper spray. The fact of the matter is, when you're on that base level of running what I consider minority account security, most of your products or resources, if you will, they come from your own support, and they're usually allowed to the extent that they don't violate the client's preferences, and you'll just be able to run that through your supervisor or whatever or not. But I digress. So pretty much this is going to be a communication issue of security management, not just directly saying it was on the actual client or the actual security network that I was under at the time. Just indiscriminate, um, passive non-communication between three focused parties: the individual security guard himself, the actual client's network, and also the security network that you're working under. And even though my security network has gotten better around this time, it still was not what I would consider to be to an optimal standard. But at the end of the day, I had something to work with, and I still was in a place where, like, okay, it's up to me to take charge to make my shift and be consistent with that shift in accordance to my survival and what I can do as far as doing my job to the capacities that I can. So, in the story, anyway, there was an obvious separation of communication. I was not updated, and even if the client was updated, it still didn't communicate to the fact that it was going to reach me in a timely manner. And also, there was no shift update around this time about certain situations that have occurred or could possibly continue to occur when I was working a shift. So, anyway, by casual conversation and hearing increments and bits and pieces of it, and then finding out that a previous shift guard was involved in a shooting or whatever, whatnot. Didn't really get the details. I just know that specific entry site location, because it was only one way in with the vehicle, and the second way in you could get around on foot, and so pretty much casual conversation and or hearing novice banter amongst the residents about what happened yesterday and things like that. But the first receiving information that I got with the actual event was actually through one of the people that were involved, because he misinterpreted that I was the one that was there during the time that it happened to him. So anyway, doing foot patrol around the insert section where the vehicles only enter, and I get stopped aggressively. Hey, motherfucker, basically in his words, you weren't there when I was getting shot at yesterday. And as he's walking towards me, so he was referring his information to a previous guard at this time that was working the site. And so obviously a couple tactics here and there, just real light, nothing crazy. Hand, step back, keeping my encircled space, and making sure I tap back into the conversation. Hold on, sir, what are we talking about here? And I want to reiterate, like, payment and conditions of employment go out the door. It becomes a cooperative moment of survival, if you will, and it becomes admitting right to your truths. And so, like, and I remember thinking at this time, like, okay, this might be die time, and I accept because this was the path that I chose, and essentially, me working in this environment is grind time. That's what it is. I know what this is about. I know I'm not about to get no support if this goes south. So all these come up in abstract feelings, if you will. And so I'm stern and commanding in my approach, but professional, respectful to him simultaneously as he's approaching me, and basically asked a question or posed a statement. And I said, I wasn't even here yesterday. I was off duty yesterday. You sure you got the right person? And even though in that moment that gentleman was wrong in this small pocket of management, he stopped and he said, oh shit, that wasn't you, bro. And stopped and completely disconnected. And so, one thing I noticed as he was coming towards me at that point, he assimilated me to be someone else. And that communication of whatever happened to that yard was not relayed to me about that event that was happening anyway. And that's actually a big security issue, if you will. And it should be promptly updated. I was going to feel someone else's results or someone else's perspective while they temporarily were gone. And at the end of the day, the real story is it doesn't even matter that that was me or the other guy. The fact is, generally people see uniforms, right? And if the guy was even close to my complexion or close to my facial features are actually um, things that get more negligible when referring memory to certain people to recall stressful events anyway. So you got skin complexion, and then you got your actual size and build, and then you got facial features, and facial features are more defined, if you will, to actually recalling the size of the nose, the size of the ears, and things like that, because it's more finite, especially if you're in a real gross, grotesque, mobile-like situation. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, I had to manage that situation, and even though the results about the conditions of what was not notified to me, what the other guard did, and what was, just my current position, I had to consistently, on the days I was there, be completely dedicated to full patrols and dedicated to the aspects of going back to that same spot and speaking to that same gentleman over and over again consistently, not due to no fear and things like that, but due to I'm here today. You need to recognize who I am today, and you need to consolidate the story correctly in your mind to who is who, and you need to separate the individuals that work the security posts. All right, that's really simply it about that. The security management issue. What are the lessons in that? Pretty much, you can't really control anything outside of you that is there to support you. At the end of the day, you have to be leading in your position. You have to be leading in your application to the extent of if you have a client and or security operations or other support operations, as far as being individually linked with other security professionals in-house or outside of that. That training, that aspect is all on you. And at the end of the day, when you come back to your baby, quote, if you will, unquote, you have to understand that your spot is now. And when your spot is now, you do your spot now, because you can't account for the sophistication of who may be in leadership. You can't account for the sophistication of another individual. But what you can account for is what you do at that moment. But you damn well better be in this place of acceptance, especially when you're working the heavy grinds of your work. Because when you're working the heavy grinds of your work, this extends all the way from taking your life, especially in this field. This extends all the way from getting some sort of scarring or high cost effective risk. And this it extends into it can even extend to a social debilitating, as I've said on past videos, whether it's specific favoritism or specific uh, circumstances that just simply may not favor you to be in your optimal performance, such as me being in that subsidized housing environment with not the right support and just simply being thrown in that post just for filling manpower. All right, secure management faculties, when your mind is key before you unlock what is seen security. Dreyfus, appreciate the patience for this video. Went a little bit over in the time frame, but that is fine. Again, if you need to sell your firearm, click below. You'll see the link. Follow the prompts. Appreciate all who've observed this video. See you on the next upload, and looking forward to the next topic.